And good morning, Hoosier fans, and welcome to a victorious edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Nebraska. And oh boy, the Hoosiers are 10-1. IU wins in overtime, first overtime outing of the year. I predict not to be our last. We win 96-90. A game in which I believe I'm 37 years old, and I didn't expect to have to take blood pressure medicine this early in my life. But I may just have to get some. Man, this team just... Recently, we have these games that they get on you. They frustrate you. They aggravate you. It's a disappointing outing. It's one that you have to give credit to Nebraska. They scouted us. They game planned us very well. We started to get off to a great start, bringing the lead out. Starters doing well, playing aggressive. Then coach subbed in 4 guys. The line change. I don't know if he saw the speed that they were starting to do and wanted to get a little bit more speed on our side. But those guys that went in were asleep. They were ball watching. They were losing their guys. There were a lot of slip screens, and that allowed Nebraska to get back in the game quickly. And I think that was the first kind of punch that we weren't able to get back from. That was the opportunity that gave Nebraska some confidence. That gave them the confidence that they could be in this game. When I think that if we had been able to keep on them with our starters or with minimal subbing at that point and kept our hand on their throat and put it away by 10, 12 points at that point, the feel and action of the rest of the game might have been different. Now, maybe not. It might have stayed the same. A heck of a coaching job by Nebraska in adjusting to what we were giving them and what we were showing them. They dared us to shoot. They did a lot of stuff that we saw last year that was very concerning. Just packing in the paint and daring us to shoot. And we took every bit of that dare. It's fine to do it to start, try a few and everything, but we don't shoot at a high enough clip to continually take those shots. We stopped driving. We stopped, getting it into the paint. And they were able to just do whatever they want on the offensive side, get by every single one of our guards. Guard play was pretty poor, both from a shooting standpoint and then from a defending standpoint. Too much, like I said, too much ball watching. I usually take a decent amount of notes in games as we go along, and just the frustration in what I was seeing, and I was trying to find good things to note down. It was just negative note after negative note that I was taking, and I don't like to do that. I don't like to be the one that's pointing out too many negatives of players and smacking it down. What this team is doing wrong. You can see when that's happening. You know what's going wrong at those times, and you don't need to really pound that home as much. So, I mean, at halftime, we skate through the 1-point lead, come out in the second half, and they start to show more zone to us. Actually think that's then about halfway through the second half. I started to see something that while they were playing the zone and it maybe looked to our guards like we were getting denied the pass to the paint, or that the action wasn't there to the paint, whenever we did get it there, our guys underneath were able to take care of it. Justin and Trace especially. I started to see once the ball went down to them, even though they were getting defended, they were getting double teamed, they were able to find something. They were able to find looks and everything. I even tweeted, I think at that point, Justin and Trace can and should take over this game. And what happened right after that, that's when Trace continued to get hot. And Justin as well, maybe not on the point side, but really started to make good moves in the post, coming up to the free throw line when the zone was happening, receiving it, distributing it from there. Justin and Trace, respectively, 25 points and 16 points by Justin. Just something that I like that tandem. I like having those two in together underneath. I like the speed. I like the aggressiveness. As Justin even said in the post game interview, when they asked about those two playing together, him playing with Trace, he enjoys it too, because he said if we're playing against a big team, we can use our quickness against them. If we're playing against a smaller team, we can use our size and athleticism. And that's right. That's 100% right. Those two guys bring a dynamic and a range of skills that you don't see very often at the 4 and 5. The only thing lacking between those two, and we've seen a little bit. I think Justin had one from about 15, a pull-up. They develop those things, a little pull-up, and so much more scoring will open up for those two guys going into it. Game goes into overtime. Demezy Anderson, while a non-factor for most of the game, stepped up in overtime. A lot of that might have had something to do with the fact that he, not to throw blame or anything like that, because the whole game led this game to overtime. But he did have that one inbound play on a just poorly chosen pass into Rob that allowed the other team to shrink it in. We were up by 3, inbound the ball, probably get fouled, go down up by 5. Instead, up by 3, they inbound, they make a shot, get fouled, keep it close, and allow to have that last minute little spurt that sent it into overtime. But rather than getting down on himself, and he stayed with it in overtime, and he made some great hustle plays, some great rebounds. On defense, he was locking in on his guy. It was good to see. That's been a little bit of a theme that I've been happy to see. Obviously, we talked about it after the last game with Joey. Players making mistakes on this team, and they have stayed with it. These guys have that heart to them. They have that aggressiveness, and that they don't get down on themselves. They don't hang their head. They stay with it, and they fight. That's good to see. Another thing that's very telling that I liked in the post-game interview, one of the reporters asked, just to anyone, how satisfied are you with the defense? Justin, without hesitation, just said, not at all. Not at all. And he said, what do you think you guys can do better? A lot. Everything. That's good. Like addiction, acceptance or knowledge is the first step. Let's hopefully we have some time here. It was a quick turnaround. The guys played on Tuesday. As Coach even said, they flew back on that evening. They weren't in their dorms until 5 a.m. They're studying for finals. They've got 2 days to practice. I mean, Wednesday's a little bit out of the window because they're just arrived at 5 in the morning that day, so they're a little shell-shocked from that. And then add into it that they practice on Thursday and then to get ready for this game. And Thursday, as Coach said, was pretty much for the first time that they've had everybody in practice. No one injured. So that's just amazing. And what it seems like is that might not be the case because now Devontae might be injured. He said his Achilles is bothering him. We haven't heard anything past that. I did see in those plays leading up to right before he went out, and we never saw him the rest of the game. There was a play underneath when he was going for a rebound on the defensive side where it looked like the other guy kind of stepped on him or awkwardly, and he kind of twisted his ankle to a degree or rolled it a little bit, and then started to go back down the other end. I think he stepped on a guy's foot at that point too. So there were kind of two bang bags right after each other, and then that's when then after that he kind of turned the ball over. The ball kind of dribbled away from him, and I think it was his left leg that was bothering him, and that was definitely the leg he was pushing off. He would have pushed off from to gain that ball, regather that ball that dribbled away from him, and so I'll chalk that down to probably that. And he kind of limped off. He didn't hit the ground and need to be helped off. So hopefully it's just a strain or something like that. Hopefully it's nothing worse. But here we go again in a guard field that isn't the biggest, with basically 4 guys. And now we're going to have to practice with only 3 again. It's a bummer. It's something not to be very happy about. Looking at some numbers from this game, looking at the numbers, it's interesting because it tells a totally different tale. It obviously shows we shot horribly from 3. There's a few things that stand out as the reason for why it was so close. Obviously, the 3-point shooting, 5 for 25, 20%. That is atrocious. From the field, 70 or 47%. That's not terrible. Decent enough. Should be able to win with something like that. From free throws, 71. We shot 38 free throws. Again, continuing probably to stay at the top of the of college for free throw attempts. Another thing that kind of stands out, obviously, as the reason for it is that while a few of them were forced by Nebraska, our turnovers were 15, so we're a little bit higher than we would want to be. Coach obviously said that he would prefer us to stay in the 10 range at most. Obviously, lower is better. But it's what they did with those turnovers. They had 21 points in 15 turnovers. That's a very high click to score on mistakes that we've made like that. Something that we shouldn't see. Rebounds, we won handily. Our size and athleticism helped that. 54 rebounds to 31. We just couldn't hit it again. We could not put the ball in the hoop. And I'm not ready. Games like this, again, it's a win. It's weird to be talking this way about a win. But I think it's because of the expectation of this win. After having a dogfight like we did against UConn, we wanted to, as fans, have a game and expected a game where we could come at home. We had the home court advantage. Students would be there. Everyone would be cheering. We would be able to just favored by, I think, 12 to 18. We were looking for one to come in and just feel a smooth offense, feel a good lockdown game, and just win by 20. We wanted to feel that good win. And I don't know if because we thought of that and wanted that we looked for it too much. So, yeah, again, it's frustrating. And I hate to see the attitudes that you see on social media after games like this. You've already got, obviously, the Fire Archie crowds out and glaring. That's not a way to be after a game like this. There's still so much season and so much time to correct things that we see that are wrong. This team continues to be one that has a very high ceiling. If everything can click, if things can get right, their ceiling is very high. The problem with that is that the floor is also very low. Where you can look back at teams that we've had in the past, that distance between ceiling and floor is usually not that much. This team probably has the biggest distance between ceiling and floor than a team we've had for a long time. What that means as fans to me is that we need to stick with them, as always. We need to, on social media, while we can be critical to a degree, we need to try to be as supportive as we can. Because this is the sport that you like. This is a sport that I love. This is the team that I love. And no matter what happens, I will always try to look on the bright side. Call me a fanboy. Do what you want. But until we can fall apart, I'm gonna be there cheering each game. I'm gonna be excited for each game. I'm gonna be optimistic for each game. I'm always gonna be optimistic about this team, and I'm going to be hopeful for everything that they do. Just like my kids, I will be disappointed when they do things wrong, when they don't play well, but I'm not gonna get angry. I'm not gonna allow myself to get angry, and I challenge you not to get angry as well at this team. Stick with them, fight for them. That's what they're doing out there. When they have disappointing games, let's talk about the frustration of that. Let's talk about how aggravating that is. But let's not talk about doom. Let's not get the doomsday attitude up and the clean house, we need to fire, we need to get rid of people. Let's talk constructively, and let's not talk negatively. Again, I hate that after a win, this is how we talk about a game. And I think that's it. I don't know if I want to dwell on it anymore. Next game, we've got a little bit of time. Thank goodness. Got finals coming up this week. It's going to be the Crossroad Classics on December 21st. At 12 o'clock. I don't know if there's a TV. I think that's on ESPN, I want to say. Anyways, a game that, again, like this one, we should win. A team that's ranked higher in Notre Dame over Nebraska, close to kind of a UConn ranking, I believe they are in KenPom. A game we should be able to win. One that it's good we drew them this year. It's going to be a little helpful because the Butler's probably the better team currently in the state. So hopefully the guys get a game plan. They can rest. They can we can get Devontae can get over whatever this is that's ailing him and get some good practices in with a full squad. So yeah, look forward to that. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. Don't forget to smile. Be a good Hoosier. And things will get better. Don't worry, guys.